First of all, to the great Dr. Norman C. Francis. Give it up. And to the Board of Trustees, to the faculty, the hardworking staff, the students, the alumni, the community of Xavier University, let me express how much this is a very special honor for me to stand before the class of 2011 and to embrace Xavier University once again. I want to join in congratulating Camille Hanks, Cosby, Herb Douglas, and Deborah Lee for receiving honorary degrees today, but also for being the kind of role models we need to lift up. And I want to say congratulations to all of the graduates, those who are graduating summa cum laude, those who are graduating magna cum laude, those who are graduating, thank you, Lordy. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You made it. You're here. And also, a very, very special thanks to all the mothers and grandmothers one day early. Happy Mother's Day. We love you. We cherish you. And we lift you up. Now, a commencement oration should be brief, and then I should be seated. But thinking of brevity, I do have a short story about the woman who came into my office when I practiced law many years ago for me to draw up her prenuptial agreement. She was 81 years old. And she said, I want you to draw up this prenuptial agreement, but I want to let you know this is my fourth husband. And I said, well, tell me about your four husbands. I need to know what assets you bring into this marriage. She said, well, I was first married to a wealthy real estate developer. He made a lot of money. And when he demised, I inherited a lot of money. Then I married a famous actor and musician. We lived in Hollywood. We partied hardy. I went to the Oscars. I went to the Grammys. I went to the Tonys. And then he died. And then I decided I would marry a man of the cloth, a minister. And I went from traveling to prayer meetings and novenas and a very prayerful life. And he died. And then she said, now for my fourth and I think my final husband, I'm going to be marrying an undertaker. I said, an undertaker? Why would you marry an undertaker? She said, baby, I needed 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and 4 to go. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Dr. Norman C. Francis, the great leader of Xavier University, is a great change agent for New Orleans, a change agent for Louisiana, a change agent for the nation's historically black colleges and universities, and a change agent for this nation. There was a great force of nature called Hurricane Katrina. But President Obama said it best when he said that force of nature had never met the force of nature known as Norman C. Francis. And I salute Dr. Francis today for being a friend and a mentor. And also salute him for being a wonderful father and a great husband and a great grandfather and a great champion of young people, especially young black men and women. Let us give Dr. Francis our affection and love one more time. And I salute Xavier University, first in African American graduates in biology, physical science, physics, pharmacy degrees, first in launching great careers of doctors, lawyers, judges, educators, public servants, pastors, and teachers, and soon to be the first HBCU in this country to establish an institute dedicated to cooperation between African Americans and Chinese, a Confucius Institute. Xavier University is first. But as a personal aside, I sort of grew up on the campus of Xavier University as a little boy. I went to day camp in the barn. I played pickup football in the rear. As a little boy, I watched fraternity and sorority step shows with great awe. And that is all I will say for the record. But I remember the Xavier University of a handful of buildings, but a deep and abiding commitment to young people. And since Dr. Francis has come along, building on the foundation of the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament and St. Catherine Drexel, Xavier University has soared when others have floundered. Xavier University has become an institution known not only in this city, but all throughout the four corners of this world. I say that because graduates today, you are not just getting any degree from any university, you are getting a degree from one of the best universities anywhere in the world, Xavier University. And don't you ever forget it. My father, my uncles, and many members of my family went to Xavier University when it was the only route to higher education for African Americans in this city. My mother worked here. I had the special experience in the 1980s to teach at Xavier University on the adjunct faculty, an experience I will never forget. And it's been joyous to see students I taught years ago become great executives and lawyers and achieve incredible things. But because you come from a legacy of first, an institution of higher education that has been first, I want to leave you with 3 E's where you must strive throughout your life to be first. The first is to be first in excellence, a commitment to be the very best that you can be. Debbie Lee, Camille Cosby, and Herb Douglas have achieved what they have because of their commitment to excellence. Yes, doors were opened, but once those doors may have been opened, they roared through those doors. They overcame challenges and great difficulties. They have been committed to excellence. Dr. Norman Francis, Dr. Keith Black, Dr. Ben Carson, Dr. Regina Benjamin, and the names could go on of all of the names of so many people whose lives we admire and respect, they have been committed to excellence, to giving their very best, to strive to be not just good, but to be better and to be the best. And our president, Barack Obama, has been committed to excellence. He's been committed to excellence when others have orchestrated a sideshow. So while Donald Trump was obsessing about birth certificates, Barack Obama was getting Osama bin Laden. So Donald, if you're listening, you got your birth certificate, you got bin Laden, now what do you want? Excellence is a commitment to be focused. Today as you leave, you will walk out with a piece of paper which represents the fruit of many, many years of hard work, but it doesn't stop there. It will continue as you continue to strive to be successful in your career. You must be committed to be excellent in everything you do. It is about giving your best, focusing on your plan, focusing on your career. The second E is to be first in equality. A commitment to equal justice by Catherine Drexel is what birthed Xavier University. It's been the embodying mission of Xavier University to create equal educational opportunities for people everywhere. In your life, at a time when we live in a nation when some want to divide this great nation, divide it along religious lines, divide it along racial lines, divide it along class lines. Your lives must be lives that are committed to the E of equality. Equality and justice and fairness in an America, in a 21st century America that will not be majority white, will not be majority black, will not be majority Latino or Asian, but will be the proverbial melting pot, the mosaic, the rainbow, and the gumbo. You must be committed. You must be committed to equal justice and equality everywhere. As you walk across this stage, you will be a very important number who will walk across stages in May and June of this year, finishing colleges, and many from high school. But just a few miles from here, there are too many of our young people who are being locked out and left out, who do not have the opportunity to get to that high school graduation day or that college graduation day. I ask you not to leave them behind. I ask you to go back to those communities and go back to those neighborhoods and find just a little time on your pathway to success to help lift others. Give so that they will achieve also. That second E is equality. You have no devotion, and please do not, to consumerism and materialism. Everybody wants to have nice things, but do not make those nice things your aim. Do not make them the things by which you evaluate your success or evaluate your comparative worth to your neighbor or your colleague or your coworker. Commit to a life of great purpose. And the third E is expectations. I believe and will always believe that any child, anywhere, given the right opportunities, can achieve and learn. Today, your presence here today, dressed and prepared, with parents and grandparents looking on, are the most powerful testament to anyone who will listen, that any child, no matter from what neighborhood or background they come from, can learn and achieve. We must have a revolution in expectations. We must say to this nation that little black boys and black girls, little brown boys and brown girls, even in the inner cities of New Orleans and Atlanta and Houston and Dallas, can be great, will be great. We must expect them to be great. The third E is expectations. So if there's anything you take away today, it is to remember those 3 E's. The 3 E's of excellence and your need to commit to excellence. The second E, equality, and the need to live a life committed to serve so that this can become an equal and just nation and world. And the third E is expectations that you must have for yourself and that we must have for our community and indeed for our nation. Dr. Francis alluded to the fact that there are those who would commit the unspeakable act of cutting financing for higher ed. And they're proposing to cut financing for elementary and secondary education. I say that if we can spend $1 trillion plus on wars abroad, let us make the next decade about spending $1 trillion on educating our children. We must change the priorities of this nation. And your voice as people of goodwill must be strong and resolute. Do not sit as a spectator or sit in the stands. Do not be a watcher, be an actor. So on this day of celebration, it is time for us to make a commitment and reaffirm the commitment to be first, to set high expectations, to commit to equality and to excellence. And we stand. As you leave this morning, you are standing. You are standing on the shoulders of Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. You are standing on the shoulders of Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. You are standing on the shoulders of Martin Luther King and Fannie Lou Hamer. You are standing on the shoulders of John Kennedy, Whitney Young, and Lyndon Johnson, on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, and Dorothy Height. You are standing. You are standing on the shoulders of George Washington Carver and Ben Hooks and Thurgood Marshall. You are standing on the shoulders of Jackie Robinson and Muhammad Ali and Marion Motley. You are standing. You are standing on the shoulders of Camille Hanks Cosby, Deborah Lee, and Herb Douglas, and Norman Francis, and you are standing on the shoulders of your mothers, your fathers, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, and all that came before you. You stand, and as you stand on those who've teared up and cried, who've bled, who've struggled, who've extended themselves and put up those last few precious dollars, who've made great sacrifices. Graduates, you have gotten here because you have worked, because you have studied, because you have struggled, because you have borrowed. Got to pay it back, though. But you've gotten here not because of yourself and by yourself alone. You've gotten here because of many who've gone before you. They've shared your vision for a great nation, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice, and economic opportunity for all. Congratulations, class of 2011. Be first. Be first. Be first.